Deaths from coronavirus are setting records across the United States. The new reality seems to be overloaded hospitals and morgues, tents set up in Central Park, and shortages of food and medicine. But that's just part of the new reality. Workers are losing their jobs. 10 million are newly unemployed. The Red Cross is now warning about a potential social bomb.
In a few weeks, we will experience here in the Western countries, we have a lot of people who is living very marginalized. Let me use a word in the so-called of the black hole of the society. In a few weeks, we will have social problems. This is a social bomb that can explode in every moment.
The economy has been seriously wounded here, and that means the expectations and psychology of both consumers and businesses. This is not going to turn around very quickly. People are going to save, they're going to pay down debt, they're not going to spend all this. Businesses are not going to turn around and hire everybody back. You know, in crises like this, they find ways to run, even more efficiently, and they won't call people back. They did, and a lot of small businesses won't be there to call people back. It's going to drag on for quite some time, I believe.
As a result, the American public is now in a scramble to buy guns. Searches for ammo are now top online.
This is only the second time in my 61 years of business that we've seen anything like this. We are experiencing a massive rush to buy guns and ammunition as people feel the need to protect themselves and their families.
And their fears are not entirely unfounded. 5 were just busted in Santa Cruz for breaking into stores that were closed by COVID-19 regulations. This while the National Guard has been deployed in all 50 states. The situation with coronavirus is already grim, but people fear at this point the worst could be yet to come.
So if you've been sick, you know that intensive care is not something that doctors recommend lightly. Boris Johnson is clearly in danger tonight. And that's a bad sign. Johnson is in his mid-50s and hale enough to lead a country. If this can happen to him, a lot of us should be worried. And we are worried enough to endure things that just a month ago would have seemed preposterous. Last week, Dr. Michael Ryan, he's a leader at the World Health Organization, announced that in response to the spread of this virus, authorities may have to enter people's homes and remove family members, presumably by force.
In most parts of the world, due to lockdown, most of the transmission that's actually happening in many countries now is happening in the household, at family level. In some senses, transmission has been taken off the streets and pushed back into family units. Now we need to go and look in families to find those people who may be sick and remove them and isolate them in a safe and dignified manner.
Just so you know, we're coming to your house, seizing your children and, quote, isolating them in a safe and dignified manner, whatever that means.
Local governments to enforce the social distancing rules. The local governments are charged with enforcement. I want them to enforce them. And I want to be, frankly, more aggressive on the enforcement because all the anecdotal evidence is people are violating it at a higher rate than before. So we're going to increase the potential maximum fine from $500 to $1,000. But it's not really about the fine. Nobody wants the money. We want the compliance. We are serious. Frankly, there has been a laxness on social distancing, especially over this past weekend, that is just wholly unacceptable. Look, people are dying. People in the healthcare system are exposing themselves every day to tremendous risk walking into those emergency rooms. And then they have to go home to their family and wonder if they caught the virus and they're bringing it home to their family. If I can't convince you to show discipline for yourself.
Meanwhile, face coverings while out in public are now mandatory in Riverside County, and residents who don't comply could face a hefty fine. CBS 2's Candace Crone reports from Riverside with more on the new order.
The county is really stepping up its efforts to slow the spread of the coronavirus by fining people who leave their home without wearing a mask. Here's some video to show you now the new order went into effect Sunday at midnight. We visited a couple shopping centers in Riverside yesterday evening and saw the majority of people were covered up. There were still some, though, who weren't wearing anything over their nose and mouth. A Riverside County spokesperson told us law enforcement agencies here are focused on educating the community about the order. They're not rushing to ticket people, but will first issue friendly reminders if they see folks gathering in groups or not wearing masks.
Riverside County Sheriff's deputies will not be stopping vehicles or setting checkpoints for motorists. We will not be stopping you while on a walk with your kids.
The mandatory mask order comes after the Riverside County Sheriff's Department recently lost 2 veteran deputies to coronavirus. The sheriff is asking people to please take this order seriously. And the fine for violating the order is $1,000 per day per violation. In Riverside County, Candace Crone, CBS 2 News this morning.
The biggest and brightest supermoon of the year is overhead Tuesday night, April 7th. It's known as the pink moon, but it's not going to be pink. The name comes from the first blooms of a pink wildflower native to eastern North America. Supermoons happen a few times a year when the moon is closest to the Earth in its orbit. It's usually 14% larger and 30% brighter than a typical full moon. The best time to see it on the East Coast Tuesday will be at 7:27 p.m. Katie Johnston for CBSMiami.com.
Someone's burnt the 5G tower already. Mad out here. Look at that. 5G tower. 0G now. 0G.
So this is why I'm not self-isolating, you know what I mean? Man's out here doing the business, what you lot doing?
If a man said don't mow and then said it's locked up. We'll use 4G instead, bro. We don't need 5G. Come on, use your head. 5G's for robots. Gonna go, roll Kev. Out the fucking way.